And this morning I've asked Bill Nykirk if he would be so kind as to open us up, if we'd all please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This week we've had a member of our community pass. It is our former judge, Barty Bullock. His mother has passed away, and I'd like to remember her and in a moment of silence to honor the family and just keep them in your prayers this week. But let's take a moment of silence for the Bullock family. Thank you. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. You gentlemen have received a copy of those. What would be your pleasure?
Motion.
Second. A motion and second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We've got a group here today, and I know they've all taken off from work to be here, and in an effort to get them back to their work, I'm going to go a little bit out of sequence here, but I'm going to call up Devin Gaffney is here to speak on behalf of a project at the Lake Cumberland. What's it called? Leadership Lake Cumberland. Is that the name of the group?
That's correct.
All right, I always have to think about that, but if you would, please.
Can I introduce Devin real quick? And
Certainly,
discuss
Bobby
the project
Clue.
a little bit.
Certainly.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning, Bobby.
I don't get a chance to come down here and talk to you all nearly enough. It's pretty down here.
You're close.
I know, right? I'm closer now. I have less excuses. So our Chamber of Commerce several years ago initiated a program called Leadership Lake Cumberland. Several people have gone through this over the years. To date, we've graduated almost 650 people from this program, everything from state legislators to owners of business, large and small, here in our community. And in the last few years, we have started to challenge these leadership programs upon graduation to take on a community project. Find something that they were passionate about, something that they wanted to get involved in the community, and tackle that project. So we started this about 4 years ago with these leadership groups. So the first project, that group were the ones that raised about $36,000 to help put the beach in out at PC Park. They raised the money to help start that project, which has now become, from what I can tell, pretty popular, and I think that you guys are thinking about making it even bigger, which is tremendous. The year after that, our project was, I think they raised about $60,000, $65,000 for the Pulaski County Area Technology Center to help refurbish and update equipment there inside. The Technology Center was very out of date with a lot of the stuff that they had over there. I mean, they donated a forklift. East Kentucky Power did, so it was a real blessing. They helped out with the nursing side of that, the industrial maintenance, welding. They donated several things, which was about $65,000 in donations and cash that they did to help upgrade their facilities. And the year after that, their group raised about $40,000 to help with the handicap accessible park that we see out at Summer Sport now. So it just so happened that Steve Fisher happened to have a wonderful project that we had identified, and we just asked him basically if we could piggyback onto it and help out. We really didn't want a tremendous amount of credit whatsoever, but it was something that they were passionate about. They had identified that there was a need for that in our community, so they helped raise a lot of money and present that to the city to help make that maybe a little bit bigger. And I think it's really, really neat. It's probably the second or third largest handicap accessible playground in the state of Kentucky. It's beautiful. So To segue into where we're at now, we have some people here, and I'll let Devin introduce them from our 2017 leadership class. And we challenged them as well to take on a project, identify something here in town that they were passionate about, something that there was a true need for in our community, and they found something, I think. So before we move forward with the project, I think it's important that we come down here and talk to you all, especially since it's going to involve your all's property. We want to make sure that you like it before we do anything, before we go any further. So Devin Gaffney has kind of been a quarterback in this project, American Insurance by day, Leadership Lake Cumberland quarterback by afternoon, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about the program.
Thank you, Bobby. As Bobby said, part of what we've come through, we did the leadership class, and it was challenged to see whether or not we were going to do a project like our predecessors. And so we kind of started searching around for what was there, and the project that kind of came up was a canopy or a cover over the stage in the Judicial Center. And so several of the folks that are part of the class, I've got a picture here, but several folks there, if you could stand if you're part of the class, just to be recognized that are here. Daniel was part of it. Aaron, don't hide back here. So these are some of the folks that are here part of the class supporting it. So thank you guys. But again, the project is to develop or build a cover for the stage over the Judicial Center. And we've talked with a lot of different folks, including like Judge Burdett, because obviously this would be right in his front yard. He loved the idea. He was very, very supportive, and have talked to several others about this. So this would be a project that we would raise funds for to have built. We had it, as you can see, maybe pass that around so everybody can kind of see. So we would raise the funds for this, have it built, but what we would ask is that obviously once this was built, that it would need to be maintained. Obviously it's on county property, as Bobby talked about, so it would need to be maintained going forward. But we would take care of getting it up to that point where it was built, and hopefully here soon. So a couple of ways that to share a way we will raise funds for this is actually some sponsorships, give it a kind of like a naming rights, if you will. And we've already had several businesses very interested in competing for putting their names on that. And it wouldn't be like a big banner or anything else like that. It would actually fit with the overall motif. We were thinking like a powder-coated metal in their logo so that it would fit with the overall Judicial Center Plaza, work with what's going on downtown, and be timeless. So that it wouldn't be just very, very dated. Any questions?
Great idea.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I can't take all the credit. It's the other people.
Well, the only thing that worries me about it is when they built the Y, they called it the Alton Blakely Y. I wouldn't want to see one big, huge banner from
Okay.
one person. If we could maybe just do a monument over to the side with the people who donated. I mean, just
It's a good idea.
off the top of my head.
Appreciate
Okay.
it.
But I love the idea.
Thank you. Any other questions or suggestions?
Did you say you had a expected start date, or just still?
We don't have an
uncertain?
expected start date. Right now, we wanted to get everybody's approval and buy-in, obviously get y'all's approval for it, and then we'll start the fundraising for it.
One of the things, Martin, since that is part of the AOC, we probably need to reach out.
I think he's spoken with Judge Burdett, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We met with Judge Burdett, and he gave his blessing on it. He was very excited about it. He started giving us actual suggestions of what we should put in.
So what you're looking for here is for us to maintain it after you get it
Yes, sir.
built.
Correct.
We have any idea what kind of cost it would be to do that?
To maintain?
Yeah.
Right now, no, I don't have a hard figure. That'd
Shouldn't be
something I have
much,
to-
though, I mean, you know.
It shouldn't be too much, but I mean, that's something I can get back to, get a little, as we get a little bit more hard number. I don't have that right yet.
What is this going to cost to
To
build and construct?
Right now, the rough estimate that we have is somewhere in the neighborhood of about $60,000, give or take. That was the rough based on the architectural design and some of the suggestions for what they said put in it. So we've got
And
some
we'll have
leeway
to
there.
insure it also.
Yep. Looks great, though.
Looks good.
It's a great idea.
That does look good.
I love it.
Well, thank you.
It's a nice project.
Nice project.
But we're all pretty excited about it. And there'll be a couple other little things where the community can get involved, so it's not just, like you said, a big banner. On the sides here, there'll be some bricking where one of the ideas for fundraising, it says where somebody could buy a brick with, etching. So that, the idea is not just having businesses do this, but maybe get the community involved as well.
Sell those brick with
Absolutely. So,
Mike Stunk's name on it. when he
That's right.
donates it.
Mike Strunk can put his
Donate
name
all
on
that
it,
money.
and there you go.
It's awesome. Well, thank you all for what you're doing. I love this group. I love Leadership Lake Cumberland and the things that you do and the people you get involved in our community. And it's just it's a great program. Bobby, thank you for getting that going. You do a lot for our chamber and for our community. So thank you, and thank all y'all for participating.
Thank you.
Exciting, isn't it?
That's exciting. Just get back with us on the figures. Okay?
And if y'all need to get back to work now, y'all are free to go. Thank you all for taking your time. Next item on the agenda, then we'll move into our old business. We put out a bid for improvement or replacement of the Shopville Road Bridge. We have received at least one bid back, I think, so let's
We
receive
have
that.
one bid from J.C. Tucker Concrete. It was received September 25th, 2018 at 8:10 a.m. The total estimate is $231,400. Demo and replacing the bridge in Shopville.
Is that just the concrete work, or is that the whole bridge?
That's tearing out the old bridge and hauling it off, excavating new footers, pouring walls, setting the superstructure, and welding the bridge deck.
So we would probably
Sounds like
purchase the bridge deck in addition.
So basically, that's the concrete work and hauling it
The
off.
demo, and,
But it doesn't include the superstructure.
It includes placing the
setting the
superstructure.
superstructure.
Do we have a price on?
Yes. The how the process works is we obviously submitted some time ago a set of plans, and we got those plans from the bridge company, and then we advertised. And so we'll take this price along with the superstructure price, and in turn apply with the state with their 80/20 monies to see how much monies they actually will give us to replace it before we proceed.
So if he's gonna tear it out and put it back and everything, where are we gonna get our 80/20? Where we're gonna
Is-
get our 20, I guess is my question.
Well,
Mine too.
the in-kind will be the gravel and the erosion control.
Fill it back in around
Fill
it
back
and turn
in,
it,
yes.
turn the weather the way it needs to go.
Yes. And then another aspect of it is placing the guardrail.
If you go down and under that bridge, you can look up through it. I mean, it's got to be replaced, or one of them school buses or something's gonna fall through there one of these days. That's for sure.
Have we received bids back for the superstructure?
Yes. We got a pricing when we actually had E&H come down, they measured and everything, and then they sent us a price on the superstructure after they sent us the set of plans that worked. So we do have pricing for the superstructure.
Did we advertise for that?
I thought we did have.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. When did we open bids on that one? I don't remember.
Well, it'd been over a year ago.
It's been a long
It's
time
been a slow
ago.
process.
Oh, okay.
Been
I've
forever.
slept since then, obviously.
So what we need to do now is accept this bid and get started taking this thing out. And is the superstructure already built or ready to build? Or-
They have a delivery, they'll give us the delivery date once we give them, say, hey, this is when we're gonna start.
Okay.
Because the size of the superstructure, they have to get special permits and haul permits, and so they've been waiting on us.
Well, they need it.
So do we accept this and then apply for the 80/20?
Yes, sir.
That's right?
Yes.
Okay.
Today, we just need to show that we accept the bid, and you don't have to start until we get everything in order.
Yeah, I would, just a caveat, I would accept it, subject to the project going forward.
Motion to accept it with the project going forward.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item then will be our new business. We've got a few items here. First, I've got a library board appointment. We've had recently resignation of Joe Lisa Way from the library board. And we have two recommendations from the library board to fill that, and I would recommend that we would put Donna McFall on the library board. The term is set to expire April 11th of 2020.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carly, do you have anything you needed to say to the court? All right, next we have then Bill Nykirk from Nykirk Insurance. His proposal, I think, for the court.
Good morning, good morning. Bill Nykirk, Nykirk Insurance, Kelly Wilson.
So, are you?
Obviously, we appreciate being here today and let her get off. Everything passed out. You know, every year we reach this point that we have to look at our health insurance again to figure out which the best direction to go and pricing and everything else. For the last 3 years, this will be the fourth year, the last 3 years we had 2 rate holds and 4% rate reduction. This year we had a lot of claims, plain and simple. We got a 20% rate increase. We was able to talk them down to 11% to keep the exact same plan that we have. That was what you know, everybody felt like we needed to do. So basically, we got the exact same insurance we had last year, if you all approve this. The second option is the same plan that was reapproved last year, so the employees will have 2 options to pick from. No changes at all in the insurance except the price went up. The reason we had that option too is there's some employees that have family plans and they wanted another option where they could purchase that insurance cheaper to put your spouse on and stuff. The Colonial Bridge insurance is not changed at all. It's the same exact insurance, no price change. The Humana paid life insurance that you all have on the employees did not change. Price stayed the same, no changes. The dental insurance, no change again, same exact plan. It went up, I think, $1.50. The vision, no change. It's the same insurance we had last year. It went up 50 cents. The only thing we're proposing new this year is several employees approached us about putting in a voluntary group life insurance policy that they could buy. So we came up with Humana's got a $100,000 guaranteed issue policy, no matter what your health is. When we offered it this year, they were able to buy it. If they wanted to put $25,000 on their spouse, they can, and they can also put up to $10,000 on their children aged 26. Again, this is to be something to be offered to the employees whether they want to buy it or not. It is a guaranteed issue this year and this year alone. Any new hires come in will have a guaranteed issue, but if they don't pick anything this year, they do have to go through underwriting. It's basically 4 questions they ask. But for somebody that's an employee now that's got cancer or had some major issues, they're covered no matter what for $100,000 if they want to pay the premium. Any questions you have for us or any comments?
What is the premium of the life insurance? Is the premium based on age?
Based on age.
Okay.
It's in groups of
Yeah.
increments of 5 years. Yeah.
And existing health doesn't matter.
I'm sorry?
Existing health doesn't matter.
Not on the life insurance, not this year when we offer it, it does not. They get it no matter what the health is.
I've got on the family plan,
Yes.
I don't know how many people partake in that, but I know I'm one of them. That's gone up more than 11% for that.
Well, that's a good question. Now, usually what the insurance companies do is they got an amount that they raise the group rate, and I always look at the individual and try to keep it, because that's where most of the cost is, keep it lower. again, there's, unfortunately, I assume that means for families and probably children and spouses, it probably did go up more than 11%. Honestly, I didn't put the pencil to that, see that it was more than 11. But,
No, it looks like about 30%.
yeah, well,
I think that's what we contribute.
So,
and
all right.
I don't disagree with you on that. It's,
Okay. You gentlemen have any questions? Guess do you need a decision today then on what
yeah,
to do?
Motion.
Second. Second. Any further discussion?
we also need to put in there about NICRC insurance.
Right.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Make sure NICRC insurance is the agent.
Correct, for 2018.
2018 agent of record.
Thank you all.
And I will say also that as far as pricing goes, of course, I don't like it, but I do always, when we do the budget, I always make sure I work in an increase because we have been burned by not doing that in the past. So I do work in an increase. So we are good.
And, you know, take a step further right now. This last year, we did have a lot of very large claims. I mean, it's over, you know, almost a 95% loss run. But we already can tell this next year that it's going to be less. Some of the employees that had large claims are no longer with the county. And this, of course, nobody can go forward thinking about, we all could get sick tomorrow and have a major claim. I mean, it's not something you can plan, but looking forward, I think, you know, it
There's
looks good
usually
now.
a trend.
It's the trend. This kind of like you guys at farm, like I did. About every 5 years, you lose your crop. You know, and that's basically what's happened this year.
We lost our crop.
Yeah. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you. Next item then on the agenda will be Reed Brothers Insurance has also a proposal for court.
Good morning. Alan Crawford with Reed Brothers Insurance, AKA Tree Kill.
Review all this.
Thank you, sir.
You have 4 proposals, actually 5 proposals before you there. One is comparing with the same company we had last year with One Beacon. One Beacon Insurance last year, their premium was $538,718.83. The renewal quote was for $610,552. We had cyber coverage with them last year as well. That was $4,729. The quote this year is $4,958. The workers' comp was $195,915 with Kentucky Employers Mutual. Actually went down to $192,542. Biggest part of the drop there was $3,000, but it was the experience mod, so the claims have gotten better.
Our crop was better.
Yeah. I did get an optional quote. For the package quote through the optional company, it was $501,507, coming in cheaper than last year's. I got an optional quote on the cyber liability to come in right at $1,698.85. We had 16 more vehicles than last year net. Our experience mod went down 2 basis points on the workers' comp. And there are some differences in coverage on the optional quote. You can't ever get an apples-to-apples quote on those, but not much difference at all. anyone have any questions?
I want to apologize for yesterday, not answering your calls.
That's okay.
I was busy and I would have called you back.
Not a problem.
From a personal standpoint, I don't get to vote on this, but Alan, as you well know, I've suffered a federal lawsuit for my duties as county attorney, and One Beacon has denied coverage on that claim. I've got a $14,000 bill laying on my desk for me doing my job as county attorney, where I got sued in federal court. CAECO, the McQuarrie County attorney, also got sued, and CAECO, the Kentucky Association of Counties, has agreed to cover his defense cost in that. So I'm very disappointed that One Beacon determined that they didn't provide coverage for that lawsuit. And FIscal court has graciously agreed to step in and pick up the cost of that, which I don't feel like should have to do. I felt like it should have been the burden on the insurance company to shoulder, not our taxpayers.
On
in
the
this
prior
county.
coverage, we've never had non-monetary relief coverage. There's a small amount of coverage under this program, and I'm fighting to try to get more coverage. One Beacon didn't have it, Travelers didn't have it in years past. So when we went to shop the market, we have looked for additional coverage there.
Well, again, when I talked to your One Beacon's adjuster, that's what he said. We don't cover non-monetary loss, but there's a monetary loss here. This court's having to pick up for it. And I understand, if there's no coverage, but I also understand CAECO covered. And actually, they contacted me and said, had they gotten the lawsuit earlier before I retained counsel, then they would have even picked up coverage for me. I could have ridden the coattails of the coverage on the McQuarrie County attorney. And I'm not promoting changing anything. I'm just stating the facts. So
So you're saying that CAECO Insurance paid the claim for McQuarrie?
well,
County?
they're paying the defense cost. They're paying an
But the
attorney
same
to
thing that
defend.
you're having to pay for,
that you all are
or
having to
we're
pay.
having to pay for, out of our pocket.
And they said
Same
that,
situation.
yeah, we're both in a federal lawsuit, and they said I could have, their attorney who's representing the McQuarrie County attorney would have also represented me had he gotten served when I did, and my time started running to file an answer before his did. So I had to go ahead and get an attorney, and by the time he got an attorney, I already had mine engaged, and he'd already filed all the necessary answers and motions and all that. So, and again, I'm just stating the facts, and maybe that is something that can be negotiated in the next contract, because there are lawsuits involving declarations and people seeking injunctive relief and that sort of thing for us doing our jobs. And those should be covered by any insurance carrier that's going to cover public servants.
I agree.
Alan, the question I guess I'll ask you is the quote you got that's not Beacon, what's the differences? Is it exactly alike?
They're not exactly alike. There's some coverage that are broader under the other program than One Beacon has, and there's some that's a little more restrictive. To go through every bit of it, we would probably need all day.
Yeah.
The deductibles on the property, One Beacon was at $1,000 deductible, and the new coverage would be a $2,500 deductible. The auto deductible would be $1,000 on the new one, it's $500 on the current. So I went back, I had One Beacon to re-quote that, And there was a liability limit section of 1 million, 3 million on the underlying limits. Per line, there's 5 lines of liability. And we had 1 million, 5 million under the One Beacon program. So when I had them change their quote to match limits, it made about $8,000 difference on the year. So we'd still be at 602 versus the 501. If we change the limits on the other.
And I'm also assuming this needs to be dealt with today?
Yes, it does.
I make a motion, we'll go with the 501.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Nah.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Alan, would it be possible to get lost runs so I can see where we need to work on?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Alan, is this your copy that has?
Yes, it is.
I thought it might be. It had some notes inside of it.
Do you all, do they need to vote on the,
The packet, the workers' comp as well.
Yeah.
And the cyber liability as
yeah,
well.
okay, that's what I thought. So there's a $1,600 added premium for the cyber.
Yes. And the 192 on the workers' comp.
Need to vote on both of those?
Because all you voted on was the,
Vote on Keeney as our workers' comp.
yeah.
Motion. Got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? As for Keeney is our workers' comp.
Thank you.
And then the other one was the cyber.
Alan, before you leave there, is there any way possible that we could get any of this before the day we vote on it or anything? I mean, I know you're searching all the time for the best
Right.
deals, you know, but,
I'd recommend we look at doing an insurance committee
okay.
to where we can work through that ahead of time. Otherwise, not sure it could be done any other way.
Yeah. Like I said, I know you're searching continuously, but, you know, it's a whole lot to look at and,
It is.
you know.
Did you get the cyber quote?
No, I didn't get the
We need
cyber
to have a motion to do the cyber quote,
For BCS Insurance.
BCS Insurance. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Who seconded it?
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Alan. Bringing us into our department reports. Stacy, how come you've got something for us today?
SRT surplused a 2008 Chevy Impala at the Fire Commission meeting the other night. I just need court's permission to surplus it so we can take it off our insurance.
We have a motion to surplus this vehicle.
Motion.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Stacy. I want to publicly say thank you too. We had an event here for suicide prevention awareness Sunday, and Stacy took time out of his schedule to come and set up chairs, you know, on his time, and I want to say thank you for being a part of that. Solid waste, Danny, have something today?
I have 3 more names to be brought for part-time employment, no salary change for fiscal court. It's all taken care of by the 109 board. Those individuals are Riley Haynes, Kyle Smith, and Patricia Wilhelm.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Misty's got one ordinance.
I just have a property that I need approval to get mowed. It is at 258 Mark Street.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Next then will be Road Department. Jordan?
I have three things, Dave. First being approval of a road work request.
Jordan, on mine, we need to make an adjustment on Plato Van Hook Road. That, we need to write in $12,000 is how much I have to spend on that, and that the county's gonna place it.
Okay.
So that needs to be added to that.
To which road?
Plato Van Hook.
Is that for them to do, Jim, or you?
What?
Is that for them to do, or
Uh-huh.
FIscal doing it, or?
Yeah.
I think it's coming out, he's got 12,000 road money left. He's gonna buy the asphalt, and he's asking for the road department to haul and place it.
And they're gonna put it down. That's what I had left over after my road bids.
Right. Yeah.
We need a motion to,
Motion.
second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just want to remind everybody about, remember the contract thing we went over with a couple weeks ago? One of those needs to be executed at with each
Each road.
invoice. or-
Invoice.
Not invoice, but, what is it?
Each work order.
Work order.
There you go, sorry. Yeah, each work order is the way that was designed, so. I want to remind, whoever's in charge of doing that, I want to remind you of it.
I talked with Kevin Houston this week,
Yeah.
and we're gonna sit down.
I think they still thought it was just like one contract, but the way we decided to do it was execute one contract with each work order.
And something else that was brought to our attention earlier in the week is back in June, when we solicited contracts from, heavy equipment, rock, concrete, Hinkle turned in a letter asking continuation of a contract that I guess we've had in existence back.
For a while, yeah.
A while.
10 years.
And in that they had a pricing of $60-some a ton for hot mix blacktop, which would be 78 or something pricing of laydown is two different, either be surface or base. Well, when they come here the other day, not the other day, but a few court meetings, they submitted a different thing with a different pricing. So something that we need to look at is, A, how do we allow a contractor to change their pricing once we've already accepted it as a court?
I've been in touch with Kevin and Jacob, and they're supposed to come in sometime this week to have a meeting with me to discuss the variations, because that has gotten me very concerned also.
Yeah, they
Anything
can't.
in that contract that says that the price of oil goes up, that it
No.
goes up a little?
They have a 10% or 15% allowance.
That's
But
per
right
job, though,
now,
isn't it?
huh?
Isn't that per job?
It's per job, but they have and they do, Glenn, have maybe a 3 or 5% of petroleum fluctuation, but what we found out the other day is they're charging us a different price than what we accepted
In the bid?
in the bid.
And I think they're stuck with their bid price.
They are. That would be,
Yep.
I'm no lawyer, but I would seek, if you turn in a price, that's your price.
That's your price.
So instead of paying, like when we send a driver to pick up a load of asphalt, instead of paying $62 or $58, whatever the contract is, we're paying $78, $75. And wasn't aware of that till we called the other day.
Yeah, they sent a price increase in the mail. It just kind of got us asking questions, so.
So with the contract, that we approved, or looking at to approve that Mark sent to us, we've asked him to also include their pricing that they submitted in July.
That's what it should be.
That's what we have to go by.
I mean, you know.
No need doing bids if you're gonna change the price.
Yeah, yeah, if you're gonna bid it today at this price and 2 months from now charge this price, you can't.
Carry on.
Moving right along.
The next thing would be 3,000 ton of various aggregate for the month of October.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. How did we beat you to that?
Quick draw, ain't it?
Lastly, it'd be approval of 400 ton of asphalt for various patching for the month of October.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
What about coal mix? Are we gonna mix any coal mix for the winter, or what are we gonna do there?
You know, we've been using our asphalt as
Yeah.
hard as we could, and as long as we could, but.
And I agree
yeah,
with that too, yeah.
Our pile's down to, we probably got, just a rough guess, close to 200 ton.
And,
and
Mike, to add with what we're gonna do is clean off a spot in our parking lot over there.
Yeah.
And go buy a load of hot mix, and if you spread it out and let it cool off, you can gather it back up and pile it up and dig
Reheat it.
and reheat it in the machine during the winter months.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna try that because in theory, you're supposed to be able to do that, which would be cheaper than mixing a load of coal mix.
I'm good with that too. If it works. I know they said it would
Yeah.
work. Have you all tried it before, or have you done anything?
We're gonna attempt.
We're in the process.
We're in the process.
Thank you, Jordan. I've got one other that's not on here. Adam Scales, you've got something for the court today, please.
Good morning. Last court session, we had hired a lady to be at the animal shelter, and she didn't work out. So I'm just asking the court if it would be okay if we could get another advertisement on the job position.
Motion.
Second.
Good motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Adam.
That brings us to our treasurer, Joan.
All I have today is 2 fund transfers.
You've got a copy of the fund transfers. What would be your pleasure? A motion?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
All for you today. All right, brings us down to our citizens' comments. Then we do have a couple with us today. First, I've got listed Danny Maston. Danny, would you like to approach the court?
I laid a flyer on your desk. It's called Bear the Burden 22K Ruck Walk. What this is our CrossFit group, along with Acorn Signs and Design, has come up with a march on October the 13th to signify and help with suicide awareness for our military personnel that come back with PTSD or other issues. It's estimated that every single day 22 veterans of the armed forces take their lives. That's the significance of the 22K. 22K is basically, I looked at this morning, about 14 and a half miles. It'll take off from University Drive at our CrossFit gym. It'll come through Somerset, down around the fountain, down through Ferguson, out to the 914 bypass, down to AMVETS. At AMVETS, they'll turn around and come back. Each individual that participates in this will be wearing a military ruck or 35 pounds worth of a weight vest or something like that to help carry the burden. So on October 13th, just if you see these people out, this is what they're walking for, what they're doing, just trying to raise awareness. There's some information on there if you're interested in sponsoring an individual that's walking. They'll get a patch on their back with your sponsorship of your business or so. But I just want to make the county aware that that's what will be going on that day, because they'll be walking on some of our county's roads.
So you're not asking for volunteers from the court?
Yeah, if they want to, we'll go out. I think Jason, he's looking pretty eager to walk with me that day.
I don't know. Yes, that Preston's what he.
Yeah.
I think you should do it, Steve.
I think I'd like to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. All right, next then, we've got Ms. Valerie Webb is here to speak on a situation up in the Eubank area.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's a couple of intersections on the West Ridge Road at the Eubank area, and I've spoken with Mike and the judge and different ones about this, and then took up they gave me a petition to get names of other citizens that was concerned, and I know I was confronted with other people had signed for someone that's name was on there, and yes, there was a few that did that. There was a wife that signed for her husband, and I noticed that she did not sign her name. And then there was a neighbor that signed for her in-laws, and so if those are admissible, that's up to you guys. But anyway, the thing of it is there's been several accidents that have happened at these two intersections, and some of them very serious. And the thing of it is you can't see because the road is curved, and also it dips and before you get up to where this intersection is. And the road that was present over the other two roads is shorter than the Floyd Switch Road, which is the one that involved, and then the West Ridge Road, which was normally, or used to be, the Priory Road. But as that being, there's two signs, and that is on the two roads that's going into the Charles Burton and the West Floyd Switch Road. And the Floyd Switch Road, it comes out there and it turns at the top of the hill at a 90-degree curve. And I know one time that an accident occurred there. The officer was a state policeman because of the road being a state-operated road at the time, because of the buses and children being disabled to be able to go to school, or not to go to school, but to catch the bus and needed to have the transportation. Well, that was preferably the state road. And now the county has taken that over as far as I'm under my understanding of all that. And so the Floyd Switch Road does hold preferences because it's longer, and there is more businesses on that road comparatively to the other road, even though there's several businesses up through the other area. And but the children that are there at the corner, and then also the ones coming in and being in the vehicles, you have to be partly out in the road to be able to see. And I know several have been up there and absorbed that, and the same way with the Charles Burton Road. And so that was one reason I'm asking the court to put four-way stop sign instead of the two-way. And I called yesterday to the road department, and I talked to Amanda, and she said that the signs themselves was from $100 to $150, and the posts were $30 to $40. That was from 10 foot to 12 foot. Well, I think, I don't know. She said that's individual and for each, and I thought, man, that's a pretty high price if that's what you're all paying for those signs. But she also mentioned that there was a sign, a yellow sign. There was discussion that not a sign being there, that it could be preferable to put a sign that had an arrow to it saying stop sign ahead. prior to in the lower section of that road on both instances, and that's on the south end instead of the north end. And and those signs also cost the same amount. And I know she had mentioned about the insurance on the workers and so forth, the cost of that, and I don't know exactly the amount that a person gets that works on the road, their fit salary. But if it's $32,000, then that's like let me see, I'm sorry, just a moment.
Ms. Webb, let me, in the fairness to the rest of the court, these magistrates,
yes,
you know, they have their own districts, and
right.
we have Mike here is working. I know he's talked to several people about this. I've talked to several people about this, and
right.
we are aware of how everything plays out. But I'd like to excuse them from having to be a part of this discussion if it's okay. But we, you know, Mike and I have talked, and I'm not sure we're hearing the same feedback from the neighbors as what you are. So we need to work through that and just try to figure out what's going to be the best solution. But we are, you know, it's important to you, it's important to us, and I know magistrates each have to take care of their own districts, and I know that it's a big job that they have to do. And so if you don't mind, let us digest this, because that's pretty busy. And you have anything you'd like to say?
No.
I just, yeah, I know these other magistrates are saying, what do we have to do with this? So I don't want to take up their time, if that's okay.
Excuse me, I know it takes time to get this kind of thing taken care of, if to present it, you know, and to be accepted. And I appreciate your time this morning, but I just hope that no one gets killed there, because there has been some serious accidents.
We don't want that ever.
And so, right. And so that was my concern, was for others as well as myself and my children and my grandchildren.
I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come in, and thank you for, I know you put a lot of work into this, so.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Any further business you all have? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. Have a good day.